Hello, and welcome to Starting Strong with Dr. Carolyn Strong. And I have with me today a special guest. Who are you? Hi.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tiffany Monfort Dent. I am a licensed psychologist in Cleveland, Ohio. I specialize in working with children, adolescents, and women.
Okay, well, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the format or not, but I try to keep these under 5 minutes. So having said that, I am going to jump right in.
Mhm,
Today I want to talk about coping mechanisms for adults.
mhm,
I have done some starting strong videos in the past where I've talked about self care and granting grace. Heck,
mhm,
I've even done a video where my former self care was eating a brownie in the car by myself because that's all I had time for. I mean, it
mhm.
was good too. Don't get me wrong. I even had it wrapped up special. It was the most obnoxious thing.
Was it warm at least? Because I love warm brownies. It had,
Yes,
okay, then there you
yes,
go.
yes. It was literally 5 minutes of self care before they figured out I was in the car. But um I'm not a mental health professional. So the things that I am doing are the things that are working for me. So I try and share those things and hope that they can help somebody. But somebody that is trained to do this can definitely help a lot more people. So you tell me, what can we do to cope with this? I'll just leave it at this.
I think that one of the things you said is one of the most important things is giving ourselves grace, because understanding that we are functioning in the middle of a pandemic, which is very different from day to day functioning. And so recognizing that if you're homeschooling your children, you're not homeschooling, you're trying to educate your children a lot of times virtually in the middle of a pandemic. If you are working from home, you're not just working from home, you're trying to balance the expectations of home because a lot of your kids are at home if you have them, along with just the stress of dealing with the pandemic and work. So it's this constant idea of looking at the situation and not expecting yourself to be functioning at the same emotional level that you were when things are not in chaos and crisis. And we have to acknowledge that first. And then I think in that, understanding that with all of the stress that's going on, just what you said, which is making time for some level of self care, even if it's just for a moment. And that may be for some eating a brownie. The only thing I would say about that is that sometimes one self care makes us beat ourselves up about another self care. So if
Mm,
we're sitting here at this point, I know one of the things for people a lot of times is, comfort foods kind of make us happy. So, or drinking makes us happy or calms our nerves, that making sure that those things are not happening to the point that they're impacting something else. So eating that one brownie and loving it, great. But if you're finding, well, you know what, I'm the best in this moment when I'm always eating brownies, and then you're saying, wait a second, I've gained 50 pounds and I now have diabetes, now I have another stressor. So
right.
having kind of balancing that as well. Sleep, which is very hard. We're finding that people are struggling with their sleep patterns at this point, especially if they are working from home, because the workday is lasting longer, because you're doing so many things in your home, so much more that sleep patterns are off. So trying to be as mindful of your sleep pattern as possible, which means turning off the TV at a certain point in time, being in the dark to try to help yourself stay asleep, switching off the world at points in time. Many of us are looking at the numbers every day. We're looking at what level in terms of, are you
Mhm.
at red, are you at purple, and we're kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen next. And sometimes you kind of have to step away from
Yeah.
looking at the news all the time. I think the other thing that I would say is looking at what you can control and what you can't. You can control your part in terms of wearing a mask. You can't control if everybody else is doing it. You can control if you are doing the sanitizing practices that you need to, the 6 feet distance, trying to not gather, be in the gatherings with 50 people when they're telling you that that's not best. So you can kind of control some of that and just be looking at, what can I control? What can I not? Let me focus on the things that I can, and make the difference there to give you some feeling of some level of being in control in a situation where there's a lot of things that just seem out of your control.
That yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. One of the things I know for me that helps is having a designated space
Mm.
to do work in school.
Hmm.
And I know that's not possible for everyone, but for me, like when I'm working, for me to be working in my office and no place else allows me to have that mind separation of
Hmm.
when I leave this office space, because Ever does school down here too.
Hmm.
So when we leave from out of here, we're done with that, and that's been helpful to me. But I'm also like the compartmentalization queen, but that's a whole nother thing.
And I think that that's great because it sets intellectual and emotional boundaries. So it, even if you don't have the space, because like you said, everybody doesn't have this room that they can designate, even if you're doing it in the living room or in your bedroom, having the things that you're using for work be packed up in a box and removed to the box at the end of the day. So now this space is now
there's a
my bedroom space.
yeah,
Be
there's a physical
physical difference.
line of demarcation between work and home.
Yeah, and part of it is that emotional piece of not, constantly feeling like I have to be on for work. And then it also kind of shuts that brain piece down of kind of thinking about work. It's like, okay, when work is over, if my job involves a laptop, which is one of the things many people are
Mhm.
doing when it comes to the virtual world for our kids and for us, it's the laptop closes, it goes into the bin and it sits there, and we remove all the school stuff, which is on some level people are like, this takes a lot, but at the same time it now makes the space something different. So we take our pencil pouches, we put everything in your box, and that sits there until tomorrow, because now that your bedroom is your personal space, our living room is now our living room and not school and work. So make doing those physical pieces to let you know that it's time to switch and be
Mhm.
home, because many of us, when the stuff is just out there, we're going to work, we're going to look at it and go back to work
Yep.
versus saying work is over.
Yep. I'm real good for that, and that's why, like, with the exception of the occasional emails that I may answer on my phone, if I am going to do work, I will physically get up and come down here.
Hmm.
And then that also for me helps me to decide whether or not is what I'm about to do really worth disrupting my day for,
Hmm.
because I've got to physically go somewhere else to do it.
And that's the same with the stuff if you put it in a box. It's like now I have to pull everything back out. And so you think, is it worth me getting on here doing this email right now because I've now got to physically pull everything out? And you may say, no, this is something that can wait until the workday tomorrow.
Well, again, I always appreciate your insight, and I thank you for donating your time to me today. This has been starting strong, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you?
I can be found on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Dr. Tyffani, DrTyffani. I'm also, you can find me at my website at monforddentconsulting.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.